Meeting of November 15th, 2017. Please rise for the invocation. Dear Father in heaven, I thank you so much for this great city that you've given us. And I ask for your anointing upon us, your wisdom, your guidance, your discernment, and your courage as we lead and govern. I ask for your blessing upon our city and your protection over us all. And I ask for your peace and your presence and your grace to be with those that have been so terribly wounded this recent weeks by the very traumatic events that we've had in our country. And I especially ask a blessing upon our police department tonight, and thank you for the great celebration that they're getting to have tonight, and ask you to bless and protect them in Jesus' name. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. And so to the council, I would ask your indulgence tonight. We would like to move Ordinance 1468 forward to follow immediately after the swearing in of the police officer. And that'll let our chief and lieutenant go ahead and attend the festivities that occur after a swearing in and be out of here. Is that all right with everyone?
No objection.
All right. No notices needed to the public. There's no change in content, just the order. So thank you very much. And with that, Chief Smith, we have a great night tonight.
Very good. Start out here.
Chief, can I interrupt you for a second? The microphone right here, if you could
Just hit
turn it
until
on.
it goes green.
Wait.
Oh, look what Kim.
Even better.
How about, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
So Michael grew up in Oregon until about 5 years of age when he moved to Idaho. He lived there until he was about 15 years old. At 15, he moved back to Oregon, lived with his grandparents in Molalla. He attended Molalla High School, graduated in 2012. And while at Molalla High School, he lettered in 3 sports: football, basketball, and track. He won Athlete of the Year his senior year as an award. He also won the Holman Memorial Scholarship from the High School Alumni Scholarship Fund for college. Michael was a walk-on at the University of Oregon football team in the fall of 2012, and he played 5 seasons with the Ducks. He went to the inaugural college football playoff championship game in Dallas, Texas in 2015, which is a lifetime opportunity for many. Won awards for Scout Team Player of the Year in 2014 and the team's most inspirational player in 2016. He graduated from the University of Oregon with a bachelor's degree in general social science in 2016. He shared with me that he has a beautiful girlfriend named Early Sanchez, and that she has helped him transition into his new career as a police officer and has been a significant source of encouragement for him in this process. He also said he's very thankful for his grandmother, Barbara Mans, who is still living in Molalla, stating she has continued to support him and she is his biggest fan. So I'm going to take a minute here and let you introduce both of those people, if you don't mind.
Stand up. So my grandma's on the left right there, Barbara, and my girlfriend, Early, on the right.
Yay!
So talking with Michael is very clearly he's very appreciative and loyal to his family. He said that some of his biggest encouragements and personal motivation in his life has been inspired by his father, grandparents, and his girlfriend. Why law enforcement? I think this was really a neat response when I asked Michael about why law enforcement and why Canby specifically. And Michael told me the city of Canby itself had a close to home type of feeling for him since he went to high school in Molalla. He also has fond memories of taking swimming lessons at Canby Swimming Pool as a little kid. He said he also wanted to do something with a purpose that stuck to a team environment. He wanted to use all the skills and lessons from his sports background to help others and make a difference by serving and protecting. It is his desire to leave behind that type of a legacy. Canby, he said, is a growing city with needs for enforcement and community guardians. Being able to serve and help Canby grow into the city it desires to be is something he wants to participate in. Being introduced to an entirely new world of police work is intimidating, he said, but it's also fascinating. It can be some of the most humbling times going through all the moving parts of his career that police work has to offer. He says he feels like there's some reason, though, that he's here, and after everything that was said and done, the city selected him to represent this community, and so he's learning to accept and own the challenges that are ahead of him. So he likes hobbies. He likes hanging out with friends, skiing, hiking, watching and playing football, basketball. He says go Ducks, Blazers, and Falcons. Working out and video games. He graduated from the Department of Public Safety and Standards Training in August of 2017. And it's my honor, really, to introduce to you right now Officer Michael Manns. And I'm confident we'll see great things for him as he serves his community. And as we get an opportunity, before we do the badge thing, this is an opportunity. If you guys just have a simple question or two, you can throw back toward Michael. But if not, we'll move forward.
Thank you, Council President. Chief, I just want to commend you for, again, hiring you and your team, hiring excellent people. My family had a personal interaction with one of your troopers most recently who had coached one of the I guess, criminals that was caught doing something, and that person, all the others were lying, and that one, the kid who the police officer had coached fessed up to him because he knew him. He had a community relationship, and that kind of thing that you're another example of that will be involved in the community and will be able to be in touch with people. It's a fantastic trait to have in our community. Thank you. Welcome.
I'll take a swing at that as well, and welcome here, and appreciate your background, and anyone whose grandmother says he's fit to serve is a good enough officer for me. The other thing, that you're entering a police department that it was only 10 years ago. I saw that on my Facebook feed, that it was only 10 years ago that we had a major scandal in our police department, and Brett has come in and cleaned it up and turned this into a safe community, even boring for police officers. So your challenge will be the community connection. And my favorite Facebook Canby Now story was about 3 months ago. I sent it on to the city manager. That a woman who was pulled over by a Canby police officer for a traffic violation, may have been blown through a stoplight or hadn't stopped at a stop sign or something. She complained about getting a ticket, but she said that the Canby officer who pulled her over was so respectful and kind that she couldn't complain about getting a ticket. Those are the standards we're looking for. Welcome aboard.
And just for the record, while I might be the newbie, so to speak, on the blog, our department wouldn't be where it's at without the heavy lifting from everybody, and also the support of council. I just want to make sure we have a great community that supports us, and they're part of the, the crime-solving component in our community. But our officers do a great job, and everybody involved is participating in making the changes that are very positive for us. I just want to make that known for the record. So, with that, I'm going to
Chief.
Okay. No, I just wanted to welcome you to our community and to the team here with our police force. You have a great set of leadership to guide you and mentor you, but I was really touched that you didn't talk. I know that law enforcement is in the job description, but the fact that it's important to you to community build is really meaningful to me, not only as a counselor, but as a citizen. And I look forward to seeing you live to that, rise to that challenge. And welcome.
So you normally would get the honor of the badge pinning, but we're going to have Grandma Barbara Manns come up here, and she's going to help facilitate that. And then we do the badge now first. Is that how we do it? And then we do the swearing in? We do that? Does it matter? Sure. So I'll let you do that.
As long as we do both. Sir, are you able to get that?
There, you can stick next to your grandma there if you want. now we get the swearing in part here. John? Yeah.
So it's my privilege to swear you in. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Michael Mans,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold the constitutions
that I will support and uphold the constitutions
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
and the charter and ordinances
and the charter and ordinances
of the city of Canby,
of the city of Canby,
remaining in compliance with the professional standards
remaining in compliance with the professional standards
established by the department's mission,
established by the department's mission,
values, and professional code of ethics,
values and professional code of ethics,
department policies and directives,
department policies and directives,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of police officer for the city of Canby, Oregon,
of police officer for the city of Canby, Oregon,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So while he's signing that, I got one quick story to tell you about Officer Manzi.
Oh, get the microphone.
So, did play football for the University of Oregon. Don't hold that against him.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
He was a defensive back. One of the skills you got to be for a defensive back is to be pretty fast. And I think it was his first, maybe second week, suspect with felony warrants tried to run from him.
Oh, boy.
Tried. Guy took off, and before you know it, man was after him and was able shortly to capture him.
Accident. Go
It's
Ducks.
still a habit.
Go Ducks.
We're all Ducks tonight. Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, welcome.
Thank you. Oh, yes, you are. All right, very good. Up next, we have Ordinance 1468, authorizing a contract with Mark 43 Incorporated to provide a records management and analytics system and related public safety technology services for the city. And we have the chief up again, Rick.
Yes, we do. And as the chief comes up, I will note that Chief Smith and I have talked about this transition from an existing system, the Regis system, to the proposed Mark 43 system of record keeping for probably the last 6 months or so. It's a system that Clackamas County is going to now. There have been any number of challenges associated with the current records management system in the department, and that the county has been also operating under, and it is staff's recommendation following the chief's presentation that you do approve the motion as recommended. There is a slight cost increase in the 2017-18 fiscal year that will be offset in subsequent years.
Overall, really what it is it's a case management system. We currently,
Just hold it till it turns green. Yeah. There you go.
how's that? So we currently are using a case management system, but it does not seem to be meeting the needs of our department. And Clackamas County agencies, law enforcement agencies, have made a decision to move toward this Mark 43 system that we think would have better efficiencies for us in our department. In the long run, in short, we believe it will be cost savings for our city. We're locked in at prices for at least 5-year period of time. We know what those prices will be. And the other system that we are currently in, we're looking at a cap of 10% per year. And so we look at potential charges. But it's also a cost associated by the number of users in the system. So if Clackamas County were to pull out and we did not, then we would have other a void to pick up as far as how we're going to share those costs. And so those would be unanticipated costs that we don't even have a figure to, but it would be an increase as well. So as a result, we think it's important for us from a networking perspective and communication of sharing information to remain within Clackamas County first as an agency before we begin to reach out metro. But this system does have some great capabilities. There's other departments, Marion County, Salem, for example, that are coming on. Eventually there'll be a connectivity. We believe that we'll be able to share information with this system because it's the same type of system. And we'll be able to share information, which is important for us as we're trying to identify individuals maybe responsible for
Mike? Questions? Well, good luck with this. As a government manager who's probably implemented 4 systems, the only thing that I've found true about them is that they cost more than they're supposed to and deliver less than they say they will. So this is just one counselor who says, if you come back here a year from now and say it stinks, you're welcome to come back and we'll try it again. Maybe my colleague Tim has a different attitude being in the industry, but sometimes these things just don't do what they're supposed to do, so good luck.
Well, thank you. We're very optimistic, and technology does change quite often, and we're trying not to be trapped in the technology loop, so to speak, and try to have the freedom that we need to do the work that we need to do, but at a cost that's manageable in a way that's responsible as well.
Any other questions?
I was just going to say, just for the clarification for the camera, I'm assuming that the declaration of an emergency is to do with contract dates?
Either way. Well, okay, so it's a management system that the likes of which is required to go ahead and do police reports, and so it's a necessary piece of police work, which is a necessary function in our probably the essential component of what a city provides for its citizenry. But the fact is the time for coming on is December 13th. So it needs to be in effect by second reading, which will be the first meeting in December. So
That's I have a hunch, but that will lessen the text messages I'll get later.
I apologize a little bit for the delay on that. I think we're trying to work through the bugs on that system and get that contract squared away. Everybody in the county, we're independent, and it just took some time, and so we had to race the clock, so to speak. So.
You have questions, sir?
Chief Smith, are you all transitioning at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's coordinated.
The training's going on right now, actually, as we speak.
Well, and I appreciate the IT. Is it courage, Greg? You sunk so many hours and emotion into region, and I know it's tough to make a change. Been there. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Some of our members more than others, for sure. We've had some people that are IT savvy, and they've invested a lot of time, and they have invested a lot of energy, and they've done an incredible job for us.
And it's hard to let go, I know, but right decision. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll need a motion.
Mr. Council President, I move that we approve Ordinance 1468 authorizing contract with Mark 43 Incorporated to provide a records management and analytics system and related public safety technology services for the city and declaring an emergency.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilor Hensley, seconded by Councilor Smith, to pass Ordinance 1468, authorizing a contract with Mark 43 Incorporated to provide a records management and analytics system and related public safety technology services for the city, and declaring an emergency. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And it carries 6-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for the
Chief.
adjustment of the schedule.
Our pleasure. All right, we'll step back into our regular agenda and come up to communications. Kim and Rick?
Just real quickly, if I may, we did have household hazardous waste event that came off on November 4th. It was, according to email I received earlier this week from DEQ representative, the best that they had during this past year. So the best attended and most well coordinated, and I do need to express my appreciation to our Public Works Department. We had the event in the Public Works Yard, and to all of the participants that helped to coordinate this. And there were a number of agencies that were involved, from the county, DEQ, and some private agencies that contributed to the success of the event. This is the first one we've done in many years, and we may not put one together next year, depending on funding and staffing availability, but it's certainly something that we'll keep on our calendar and roll back around in the next couple of years.
Well, it was a blessing to have to avoid the trip and the cost of Metro, so.
That and the amount of material that was brought in was just extraordinary. They were excited and a little bit overwhelmed, so that's a good thing.
There you go. Kim, did you have anything? All righty. Next up, we have citizen input and community announcements. No announcements, Kim? Okay, straight to the cards. First up, we have Tony Crawford. He has an invitation for us tonight.
Good evening, President Dale, members of the City Council, city staff, and all within the sound of my voice. For the record, my name is Tony Crawford, McCambie resident and longtime now retired teacher at the Canby School District. Taught 35 years here in Canby. This evening, I speak on behalf of the Bridging Cultures Board of Directors, and I'm here to invite, as I said, all within the sound of my voice, to the 9th annual Bridging Cultures Thanksgiving Dinner. Our organization is focused on wanting to help, bring together the Latino community and the Anglo community that make up Canby, and we do so with a number of events, including the annual Thanksgiving Dinner. Now, we understand when you bring food, people will come. And so last year we had 500 people attend our dinner, and we look forward to a similar crowd this year. The dinner will be this Saturday, November 18th, 5 to 7 p.m. at Baker Prairie Middle School. We have some wonderful entertainment. The Canby High School Cantalinas will be performing that evening. We also have a number of other activities that we'll let you discover upon your arrival. But also we have some door prizes, no tickets need to be purchased. You'll be handed a ticket and you can enter into the drawing for which of the prizes appeals most to you. All of what we offer is free, and we invite everyone to come and join us. Fun for the whole family and a great way to get to know your neighbor. I invite your questions. If there are any, I'll do my best. I would tell my students, ask any question you wish, and if I know the answer, I'll tell you, and if I don't, I'll make something up.
There you go.
2 of my students are sitting right
yes.
here.
I can see them getting ready.
I do have a question,
Please.
Mr. Crawford. How much has it grown over the last 9 years, would you say? Has it like tripled in attendance?
I would say it's at least tripled, yes.
My goodness.
It started out small, like all good things. You start small and you build up. We actually, if we have a problem, we may be outgrowing the facility. So, we may have to look to relocate in the future. But if it's a problem, it's a nice problem to have.
Good problem. Sarah?
I just want to thank you and please extend my thanks to the board and all others that work so hard for the organization. It's a really special event that we have in our community, and Bridging Cultures has a number of special events over the course of the year. And I'm really excited this year. I'm probably not the only person that has a merged family, and we don't have our kids for Thanksgiving. And so I know for my family, it'll be I'm going to cry, the only time we're together this year for a holiday. And so thank you, and it just really is in the spirit of the holiday to share that moment with our community and people from different backgrounds and with different worldviews. So thank you for bringing these events to Canby for us.
Thank you. And just by way of mentioning, all of what we experience through Bridging Cultures is through, volunteer efforts. And so, we have perhaps as many as 100 volunteers who will be contributing to the effort to put on the Thanksgiving dinner. So, it's all because of these volunteers that we can make this offer to the community.
How many volunteers?
Perhaps as many as 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big crew.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be working, well, they're already working on it this week, and they'll be working all day on the meal. And
How many turkeys did you guys have last year?
I lost count of the turkeys, at least the ones that we eat. But in addition to turkey, though, see, the nice thing is this is a bicultural menu. So there'll be great Mexican food, great traditional Thanksgiving foods. As I'd like to say to my students, it's all good.
Well, yes, Mr. Crawford, since you're talking about the bicultural nature, I noticed on my invitation it said that in addition to the traditional turkey dinner, there would also be adobo, Mexican adobo sauce. What's in that?
What's it? Recipe sharing?
I have to plead ignorance. I would love to tell you the answer, but earlier I said I'd make something up, but my best answer is I can try to find out and get back to you.
The other thing, and I mentioned this last year, that it was so rewarding. I've only been involved with this for the last 6 years. And one of the things that happened, and finally last year, was the tipping point, that the balance of Anglo to Hispanic was equal, that for many years the Anglo participation was much smaller. And now it really is a bicultural event where it's shared with all the members of our community. So, Tony, you just never stop giving. And I was pleased to see the picture in the Herald of days gone by when you and Nancy Reagan were sitting together here in Canby. So,
The question I had regarding that photo was, were we really that young? I tell my students that gray's my favorite color. That's why I dye my hair this color.
There you go. Tracy, did you?
Yes, actually, I didn't have a question. I just, a comment. I was there last year. I was very impressed by the size of the event and how much it's grown, but I didn't realize until tonight when I saw this that this is the 9th annual. So congratulations on the longevity, and thank you for building such a wonderful event in our community.
Anyone else? Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you for dinner.
We'll see you all Saturday.
See you for dinner.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, we have Grant, and I apologize, is it Schillinger? Yeah. Hey, here we go. Come on up.
I just wanted to take a second to introduce myself. I'm here with AmeriCorps, working with the city through the University of Oregon and the program that's Resource Allocation for Rural Environments. So I'm working with Jamie and I'm working with Renata just to do some economic development, do some Main Street work, and do some...
Speak into the mic, please.
Oh, sorry. Some event planning and some economic development work with Jamie and with Renata here. So I'll be here until end of July, probably. Just
very good.
Some great projects. So, yeah.
Thank you for helping us out.
Yeah.
Counselors, have any questions for Grant?
Welcome.
Welcome.
to have you here.
Very good. Thank you.
And go Ducks.
Looking forward to working with all of you. So thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, Grant, and introducing. All righty. All right, next up we have Mayor's business. He said he has some business, but it can wait till next time. But he did want to greet Canby. He's got a great event tonight. His daughter Emma is dancing center court for the Blazers tonight. And so that's pretty important. So he sends his greetings, and he'll see you next time. Next up, we have counselor comments and liaison reports. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Council President. I can only be one place at a time. Right now, the fire district is meeting, which is unusually on a Wednesday night, but they are meeting right now. So I'm not there. I'll have a report on that next time. And the Friends of the French Prairie group met today. My understanding is that Renata was there and she gave her presentation. I was not able to be there this afternoon, but it was nice for Renata. Brian was there last month. Renata was there, I believe, today. And we're being well represented in that group and letting them know all the great things that Canby is doing.
Thank you. Councilor Parker.
Well, I was going to bring up the Bridging Cultures, but that's been adequately covered by Mr. Crawford. But I would like to call up our Main Street Director, as long as we have her here, to talk about the upcoming Main Street events.
Very good. Come on up, Jamie. We love to give you prep time.
That sounds like I'm leaving the city. Just he means like in this room physically. And you know, my events are like my babies, so I am wearing an Independence Day shirt. We had a volunteer appreciation party tonight, and it was well attended, and we were able to connect with those volunteers that help make some of our events so great. But coming up is a Light Up the Night on Friday, December 1st, and it kicks off from 5 to 8 with First Friday, and I've already heard from some businesses that aren't your traditional First Friday business. Holly Street Dental does something every year with cake decorating, and then we always have Retro Revival and Red Door Antiques that do retail specials and really kind of kick off that season of shopping local, which is, you know, I know that we hear that a lot, we talk about it a lot, but it really does make a difference to our small businesses when you choose to shop local as opposed to going, you know, Amazon, although maybe that seems a little bit easier. It's funny, I think, that what you can find if you really look for it in this community. We have a lot of things to offer. Then at 6 o'clock, the lighted parade starts, and any citizen, community organization, business who wants to be in it, we open that up. Last year we had the biggest amount of entries into the parade we've ever had, and I think we had total, including fire, about 16 or so, so I'm hoping to up that again. It's just grown every year, and it's really fun to see people get creative, and our parade route really fills up with families, and then a lot of those families go and celebrate in our town, which is amazing, why we do that event. And then once it usually gets to the park about 6:30, and at that time we have Santa that comes and joins us in the gazebo. We'll have the Oregon Trail Pitch Pipers who will be singing again. They came last year and they had so much fun last year. They asked at the event if they could come back again this year and participate. I will say just something that has been kind of a little bit of an issue in the past is that it's been really hard to hear just because there's so many people, and so we actually are bringing in the person that does our sound for Independence Day celebration. He's kind of created a deal with us so that he can come back and help us to really make sure that this event is heard by all of the attendees, which is so important because if they're coming out for the celebration, we want them to hear, you know, the speakers. This year, we did something a little different. I was approached by a group of people who suggested that Walt Daniels flip the switch, and I asked him if he would be interested, and he obliged. So he will be flipping the switch, turning on the lights. So I'm really excited about that, having him participate with us, because I know he just won the Hometown Hero Award. And then what we do is we shut off all the lights in the park, and Public Works has already been working for months, but they have been working whenever it's not raining to put lights on anything that stops moving, and I'm sure if I stopped moving long enough they'd probably decorate me too. So we'll turn on the lights, and then we've got Hot Chocolate by Knights of Columbus. They're coming back again this year, and then our Santa stays and will stay for the very last kid, and we give candy canes away, and we encourage parents and guardians and grandparents or friends, whoever is coming with children, to wait in line and sit with Santa and get pictures taken. It's free, family friendly. It's really, it's one of my favorite events, not just because it's an event that I get to be in charge of, but just because it really does bring us all together, and it's got a great community feel, and it's lovely. And like I said, our Public Works works so hard to make sure that it is bigger and better every year, and that we don't go over budget. So if anybody were to have any questions or want to know how to participate in the parade registration is on Facebook, and then or they can contact the city and ask for Jamie Stickle, and I'd be happy to get them that information. I know Sarah I heard from today, and I sent you one parade registration back, so thank you. Great.
Very good. Thanks, Jamie.
And Sarah, I have a power inverter if you want to light up your truck. Okay. Ooh. And that concludes my counselor's report.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jamie, for giving his report.
Councilor Hensley.
Thank you, Council President Dale. The liaison report tonight will consist of Canby Adult Center, which I did attend part of the meeting today. And after speaking with the mayor, I am actually kind of taking a leave of being their liaison to accommodate a family appointment that I have with my kids every week. And so Counselor Spoon will be filling that role for a while for me.
Thank you, Sarah.
So the next report will be from her, but today I have to share that their Share a Meal event brought in $3,600, and they're getting ready to do their annual appeal letter, so you can be watching for that. It'll be dropping in the mail the week of Thanksgiving. Their holiday bazaar will be at the Adult Center December 2nd. And they have a new website that's up and running. So if you want to know what's going on at the Canby Adult Center, you can go to canbyadultcenter.org. Finally, their Thanksgiving dinner, they had to do it a little different this year. They had to do a sign-up for it, and that event is actually full. So if you're looking for a place to have Thanksgiving dinner, I will segue into a little other announcement in that the Canby American Legion will be doing an event, a Thanksgiving dinner at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving in the upstairs hall. So if you or someone you know doesn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, they'll feed you at the Legion. That concludes.
Do they need to register for that or just show up?
They do not need to register. They just show up.
Excellent.
And no cost at all. If you'd like to donate something to the Veterans Gift Shop, then you can bring a flannel shirt for the men's size flannel shirts or those kinds of things, but it's not required.
Thank you. That's great news. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Counselor Height.
So for the library, I have quite a list actually because I didn't do my liaison report last time. But there is a new display table kind of near the reference desk, and they're pleased about that. So there's all kinds of new items that are showcased on a regular basis, which you'll notice when you go in. So they're pleased about that. They talked about the Fines for Forgiveness program. You know, you bring cans of food, et cetera, to forgive your library fines. And they're thinking of maybe doing that on a more regular basis. So they're just kind of considering what's worked in the past, and so they tossed around those ideas. They submitted a grant to direct a link for, I think, 12 laptops for patrons' usage. I haven't heard if they've received it. Probably they will, but that's, I think it's to check out, for patrons to check out on site while they're there, which is helpful because the computer stations are often quite occupied. There is a volunteer that's being trained to read to the dogs. It's a program for kids that are new to literacy, so like early readers. I'm not sure if the training is complete or not, but that's a cool program for kids because it's a non-judgmental entity that you can read to as a kid, and so they're excited about that the dog coming to the library. Rotary had lunch and a tour at the library back in October. I thought that was cool. Again, the partnership, that the library has with different civic groups. So that was pretty good. And Kiwanis donated some discovery kits to the library back in October. These, I haven't seen them, but they're scientific concepts. Skeletons were kind of apropos for October. But there was, I guess, every couple days a week in the discovery room there in the kids center, they had the opportunity for kids to explore those kits. So I think that was pretty well received. And then the Friends of the Library, their tour of homes, it's their 4th annual, I believe. That is coming up on December 9th. It's from 11 to 3, and tickets are on sale at the library or at Thriftway. So they're gearing up for that, and they're excited once again for that. The school board meeting, a couple things came up here that I learned. Apparently we have a pay-to-play at the high school, which is kind of an interesting situation, that a kid can get a discount if they play 2 or more sports. I just thought that was interesting. And the third sport is free. So they're looking at equity there at the high school, and that's offered for our high school kids. And apparently there's a 3-sport cap for multiple family members. I thought that was interesting. They also were proud that there's 20 coaches on staff at the high school that are actually alumni of Canby High. So there are a lot of folks that have graduated, come back, and then giving back, at the high school in the coaching capacity. I thought that was cool. And they were talking about GPA, how on average kids that are involved in sports and other activities maintain a 1 point or higher GPA than they would if they weren't otherwise involved. So they're just very proud with their participation at the high school level and how kids are benefiting from that. Also, Principal Dintz of the high school talked about the Career Tech Education Program. He was pleased with the Manufacturing Day that the city was involved with this October. He talked about the budding partnership with CTV5 that I think Councilor Spoon has mentioned in the graphic arts and photojournalism capacities, so that's developing. He spoke a little bit about Measure 98 funding. There was some of that in the Canby Herald too, but they'll be receiving some more funding, and that'll be towards What is that going to go to? Oh, expanding computer science and healthcare professional offerings, among other things. So there'll be some more on that. What else? Oh, the Korean students came to Baker Prairie Middle School for a week, and they had a very important and serious ceremony there a couple of weeks ago. It was a group of kids from Gongbuk Middle School. I was pleased to be a part of that. I was in the audience witnessing that. And Baker Prairie, they're pretty keyed into international travel over there, so I was impressed with that. And the CARE Award went to Nancy Thompson, who is a physical therapist at Eccles. So congrats to her for that award. The Kiwanis, they have a lot going on. I thought I'd give a little update on that. They have something called the One Day. So Kiwanis International, once a year, every group on, I think it's October 28th, does some sort of community service project. They cleaned up Waite Park, apparently, with their middle school partners, their high school kids that are in the Key Club, Boy Scouts. They got a bunch of groups together and did that. So I wanted to publicly thank them for helping the city out in Waite Park. So that was pretty cool. They also donated $1,000 to the Canby Center Kitchen Project, which the Rotary has donated to that fund too. So that was, I'm pleased with that donation that they gave. And they've also, just FYI, they've given out $22,000 in scholarships in the last fiscal year. A lot of money, very good. And then they gave, of course, $50,000 to the children's library at our, the public library. So that's exciting. They helped out at the haunted house on Halloween at the fairgrounds as a club, and their toy and food drive is on officially now. And so applications are due December 9th if you're a family in need of food or toys over the holiday. So you'll get your application in there, and then there's bins all over town, as we've seen. So get those in by December 12th. So that is happening. And then lastly, I really like the dinner we had. We hosted Rick and the mayor and Renata spoke. We host every couple years, Canby gets to host a Clackamas County Association's dinner. And we haven't done it since I was around, so it's been at least 3 years. But it was really cool. I think the other cities that came, other city councilors, mayors, staff, were quite impressed with the presentation we gave, or that they gave. And it was about the public how do you say it? Private-public or public-private? Public-private partnership that we did with the Dahlia Project. And so the cities were kind of raving about it. I talked to folks afterwards. They were pretty impressed. So let me just give you a kudos. Thanks for that, Rick. That was cool. And I think that's all. 10 minutes later, there I am. Thank you.
All right. Councilor Spoon.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of things just to add on to what Tracy said about the Adult Center. They're also having a blood drive on November 29th. If you have some extra to give, there are people that could use it. So they're going to do one there, and you can sign up either online or you can call Red Cross. I can sign up for that. And then one other thing that they mentioned, and I know that they were getting a lot of questions about it, so I just want to note that there is a coming retraction about a newspaper article that was written about a lawsuit that said that the city and the Adult Center settled, and we'll see a retraction on that there was not, in fact, a settlement. That case was, I believe, dismissed. Is that correct, Joe?
Yeah, technically dismissed, but it got refiled. It was a way of bumping out the trial date so that settlement talks could continue.
Okay. But to clear up, there has not been a settlement at this point. And so a retraction was not printed today, so I told her that if there will be one coming in a following paper, just to clear that up. And then CTV5, as you guys have now been notified, Tony Gonzalez resigned effective November 1 as the executive director of CTV5. And first, if you haven't had a chance to work with Tony, or if you didn't get a chance to work with Tony there, he really is an exceptional human being who is wired to mentor people and educate them and help people pursue their passions and dreams. And I think he was an outstanding member of the CTV5 team for a long time. And I know that he'll be missed there. And it's so nice to have a resource in our community where people can go and learn technology and pursue a passion and be creative and develop information and put it out in kind of a shared resource for our community. He will be missed. In the meantime, Gordon Christensen and Sound Doctor Media will be taking over, and then in the new year they'll be actively looking for a new executive director. While they kind of maybe even now that technology has changed so much, the way that public access works and being able to YouTube and live stream have changed so much, I think this is going to give them an opportunity to kind of rethink the potential of that position. And so I think moving forward, we'll see a lot of neat growth there. So that's kind of what's happening there. And then, I just wanted to say, on 13th Avenue today, when Tracy and I were at the Adult Center, there was a big old flood in the middle of 13th Avenue, and the leaves were probably clogging every potential drain in the area, and we've had so much rain and so much leaves, and I saw our city staff out there knee-deep in the water, and it just made me really grateful for how efficient they were, and I thought, man, here I was running from my car to the closest building, and I was just really grateful that I wasn't knee-deep in water in the middle of the street, and they had it all cleaned up by the time I left. And it was just, it's not an easy job, and as the seasons change, there's a lot of things on their plate. And I just wanted to point out that they were so quick, and they had traffic moving around them, and it was seamless for what seemed to be basically a lake-sized puddle when I got there. So exceptional work on for our city staff in transitioning through the part of the year where things clog everywhere throughout the city, and then the rain comes and you don't even know there's a clog, and then suddenly every street is flooded, and they're doing a great job. And then finally, Baker Prairie is having a Christmas story starting November 30th, and they'll be performing that at the Fine Arts Center. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. That's just a good old holiday story. So if you're looking for a fun holiday event for you and your family, I believe it's Thursday night, which I think is the 30th of November, the night of the 1st, the afternoon of the 2nd, and the evening of the 2nd.
How do we get tickets?
I think you can just get them at the event. Okay. Usually they sell them. I'm not sure what the price is, to be honest, but
show up and have a good time.
Yeah, and support. It's really, as the years have gone on, it's difficult for schools to hold on to fine arts programs, and I think that Baker Prairie and the high school do just an outstanding job of mentoring and giving these students a place to do something that they're excited about, and to build teamwork and to learn from each other. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Very good. Sarah, can you remind us, it's been a little while, can you remind us volunteer opportunities at the Adult Center?
You know what? Today was my first day there, and I'm not sure, but I do know that I know even with like their Thanksgiving dinner, they're going to have a whole hallway full of them. So maybe Tracy can speak to that in the meantime.
Actually, they always can use help with driving of the Meals on Wheels. Okay. They have regular static drivers, but it's nice to have that on-call list. I was an on-call driver. Okay. Actually, I was a driver, and then I had a second child, and that was too hard, so I became an on-call driver. But yeah, they're always looking for extra hands to serve meals and whatnot, so just give them a call down there and get put on the volunteer list.
Okay, and serving in the kitchen, do they need help there?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay, so just call and...
Just give them a call.
Give them your availability.
They'll be glad to sign you up to volunteer.
Very good, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. And then finally, on the Canby Utility front, Canby Utility every year has a program called Share the Warmth, and that's where those in the community who can have a tough time paying their utility bills can get some assistance on that. And they've reopened that program for the new season, and if you're interested in that, just call Canby Utility, 503-266-1156, and they'll help you get started on the application process. All righty. Next up, we have consent agenda.
I move to adopt the minutes of the November 1st, 2017 City Council regular meeting and appointment of Derek Moturn to the Planning Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2020.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilor Parker, seconded by Councilor Hensley to move to adopt the minutes of the November 1st, 2017 City Council regular meeting and the appointment of Derek Moturn to the Planning Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2020. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries 6-0. Thank you. Kim, resolutions and ordinances.
The first and only item we have is Resolution 1276. This is a resolution adopting the 2017 Transit Master Plan for Canby Area Transit.
Righty, and Michelle and Julie are going to come up. Rick, do you have any? All righty. So the council's we had what, Julie, one workshop and one or two presentations in here, and briefing the council, and we're going to wrap it up tonight.
Set up 2 workshops. One, okay. We didn't have a quorum, and
okay.
one we did, I believe. And they were great. They were.
They were good.
We had a blast. And then I think we were here, this is the third time now that we've been here.
Very good. Hoping to wrap it up tonight. And questions? All right, take it away.
Okay, so this is sort of a choose your own adventure. I have two different little brief presentations I can give you, and you don't need to have either of them if you want to just take action or just ask some questions.
Speak into the mic, please.
I can give you a very brief summary of what is in this transit master plan, which will be very familiar to most of you or all of you. If you are done with the transit master plan and you would like to hear about the next thing we're working on, which is transit travel along the entire Highway 99E corridor from Oregon City through Canby all the way to Salem, I can also tell you how that's going, but that is sort of sneaking a related thing in on an agenda item, and it's not strictly the agenda item in question.
Council President Dale?
Yes.
So I'll be the first to admit this will be the 5th time I've seen this presentation. I would be more than happy to see the new stuff or hear the new stuff than the old material.
I've had other counselors also say, yeah, we're ready.
Okay, so we'll skip.
Does anyone have any particular questions that have come up that you'd like Michelle and Julie to address?
About the transit master plan?
About the transit master plan.
No, but can I just speak to it for a second? Sure. I was really impressed with the way that Julie, you and your team, and you and your consulting firm handled prioritizing developing efficiencies in this process, and I think it's an example for all organizations that you can first look to create efficiencies, and then then figure out what to do with those opportunities. And the way you simplified it through those efficiencies and making it simpler for the organization, the city, but also the riders, I just thought was really exceptional work, and thank you for doing that and taking the time and really making it an inclusive process that thought about all stakeholders.
It was good. Would it be fair to say, Councilor Parker, that Michelle was very gifted at saying, look, I need you guys to pick A or B, and we'll go down that path?
Some of the best staff work I've ever seen where you have a binary choice.
Well,
We appreciate you do not want to get a bunch of policy people together and say, what do you want to do? So it was that. And actually, now that Sarah mentioned it, I think that as well, that this was obviously a good choice in a consultant, someone organized who understood their stuff.
It was very good.
A good process, so thank you.
Thank you. Kim, your advice, would the proper way be to move ahead with the approval of the resolution before we go on into what's happening next?
Usually we do the presentation on so she's going to just go over the highlights.
Right. What I want to make sure, though, is do you want the adoption before we look at the future? Or are you fine with that being before? Okay, great. All right, very brief highlights, and then what's going forward?
Close your eyes. Don't watch this part.
Okay. We don't see it.
Okay. All right. So Julie and I are now working with Chariots. Chariots is the transit agency in Salem-Keizer. They run urban service within Salem-Keizer urban area. They also run rural and regional services, including the route that comes up Highway 99E as far as Woodburn. They call that the 10 or the 10X. And Chariots has secured the bulk of the funding for a study of the whole 99E corridor. The goal, when they wrote their grant application, they said the goal is to increase the transit ridership and transit's usefulness for riding all up and down this highway corridor, as opposed to just riding as far as your agency's bus will take you. So right now, well, here I have a little illustration of how it works right now. Right now, the green buses on the left are the CAT Route 99 from Canby. The purple buses on the right are Route 10 from Salem. And this is the hours of the day. So as the day goes by, the bus comes up from Salem to Woodburn at these times. The bus comes south from Oregon City and Canby. You could transfer between them at other times if you're willing to sit there on the edge of the road at the Bi-Mart parking lot for an hour and a half, but very few people are willing to do that or have the ability to do that because they're in a hurry. So right now, the routes are touching in space, but they are not actually connecting in time. And so Chariots has observed that this is a problem, CAT has observed that this is a problem, and ODOT has funded this study to see if the travel between these communities can be more seamless. That doesn't mean that a single agency has to run the buses, but it does mean that people can make a reliable transfer with a short wait, or maybe their bus takes them all the way to their destination. So an important concept that I'll want you to know for the future is what in transit planning we call a pulse. And a pulse is when bus routes from different places regularly report to the same bus stop or the same transit center at the same time, and they sit together for a few minutes. And then they drive away. And it's really important that they report at the same time when people, because that allows people to transfer in both directions. If bus A gets there and leaves, and then bus B gets there a few minutes later and leaves, that's great for people who are going from A to B. But it doesn't work at all for people who are going from B to A. So in order to make it work in both directions, everyone has to pulse. And this is, and it can cost a little bit of resources to pulse, because you have to schedule some extra time in there for your buses to all sit together. But the payoff is this very reliable transfer, this very quick transfer. So I want to warm you up to some of the ideas that might come out of this study. One idea is to do a pulsed or timed connection between Route 99 and the Chariots route, and do it someplace between these two communities. So the green Canby bus would head south, the Salem purple bus heads north. They meet someplace at the same time. They sit there for 5 or 10 minutes, people transfer between them, and they go back to where they started. Where that place is isn't actually clear. It sounds like, you know, Woodburn is a likely choice. It needs to basically be someplace in the middle so that the buses can be there, go back, come back